Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to The Pathway. My name is Taylor Henrik. I'm here with my co-host Sarang Patel.
Hey guys.
Today we're going to be talking about self-love, relationships, and getting ready for the holidays ahead.
Let's get it. Oh.
Well, here we are, ready to dive in. So today we're going to be focusing on self-love and relationships. I think it's an apt topic for this time of year. As you transition into a new year, everybody sets their New Year's resolutions, your new goals for the new year, things you want to achieve, things you want to accomplish. And principal among them for a lot of individuals who suffer from mental health issues is self-love, right? A lot of times I feel like I end up talking with my clients about if you can't be the best version of yourself, how can you offer yourself to others? And I think self-love is a big part of that. I do think, just talking about relationships in general, we talk about external relationships a lot. How's your relationship with your parents? How's your relationship with your siblings, your significant other, your kids, etc., grandparents, grandkids, from any different phase of life. But those relationships, to be cultivated and to be healthy and to be able to be fostered in nature, you have to have self-love, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be able to be comfortable with yourself, who you are, what you offer, and to be able to just feel good about who you are. I think it's an important topic. I think it is nice for you and I to be able to sit down and say, introspectively, how do you feel about yourself? And where does that lead you in terms of what you're coping with or what you're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting topic. It's not something I dwell on a lot or spend a lot of time thinking about, how do I feel internally? How do I feel about myself? Or how do I view other people's, thinking I feel about myself? But when I think about the core foundation or baseline of how I'm going to help someone feel better, I do reference a lot of the time, how do you feel about yourself? Do you cast yourself in a negative light? Are you beating yourself up? Are you self-aware enough to say, I am being really self-critical? I hold myself to the highest standard. I need to be a perfectionist. I need to do everything right. And in doing so, you're actually casting yourself in such a negative light. How do you ever feel good about yourself, right?
Right.
Do you ever find that in clients or in your conversations?
Yeah, so I think I'll start even before clients and with other people. I think with myself in general. Mm-hmm. And I send you a bunch of stuff on Instagram and a bunch of stuff, right? So I think you brought a good point. Self-love there's two different avenues, I would say. There's mental, obviously, and there's physical to it.
Yeah.
When you look at it and you say, let's start with your own mental self-love, right? It's like what you said, positive manifestations and how you would do it. So I'm a guy, and everyone's a little different here, right? But I'm a guy that I like those memes, those posts that are motivational quotes, that are that little cub lion looking in the water and seeing a reflection of this lion with a huge mane, a dad lion. So how you kind of represent yourself, how you kind of look at yourself, setting yourself to have goals. And we always talk about this with business, with personal stuff as well. Giving yourself a goal that is a high shot. If you're going to shoot to go take an exam and you're like, this exam is going to be super hard, don't shoot for an 80. You shoot for 100. That's just how I think how you look at it, right? So maybe not everyone has that mentality, but I think that's for me, that's internal self-love, right? For mental aspect wise, I look at those posts. I share them with friends. I share them with colleagues. I think it internally motivates me. Before I go to bed, I don't scroll. I look at sports stuff, but I look at that kind of stuff to give me a mindset for the next day of all right, cool. I'm motivated to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning the next day just by looking at these posts. And that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but those are small things there. Then you have your physical self-love, which is the gym. Right? For me, it's the gym, or for it's exercise, or it's walking, or it's whatever it is that you like to do. It doesn't have to be exercise. It can be any activity, I think, that gets you physically moving, though, whether it is walking or fishing or whatever you want to do. I don't know if you really move when you fish, do you?
I think your point is valid. It could be just about anything. It could be reading a book before the school day starts. It could be something religious-based. It could be meditation. It can be the Calm app. There's multiple different things that you could do that kind of help anchor or center your day. But I like your line here of thinking in terms of self-love comes in different forms, right? It's not just going to be the emotional, mental side that I kind of keyed in on. There's ways of offering yourself self-love, like taking care of your body, right? Eating good food, drinking plenty of water, just doing the things that's going to like put the fuel in the car for the day or get your body prepared for the day from a physical standpoint. And your self-love is relating to goal setting, right? Is basically what you're saying. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can have too much of it too, I would think would be a problem, right? Or maybe some others would say from external looking at it would say it's too much. So I set goals in everything. And anything I do, I set a goal. Whether it's here, whether it's during the podcast, whether it's at home.
Playing indoor soccer.
Indoor soccer. Trying to sprain my ankle, just trying to survive out there, right? But we're trying to do something and I'm a goal setter. And that's what is my motivation. However, you can also have too many things. Sometimes then I always look at it like we talked about this, I think maybe last week. You like go by life trying to meet these goals. And then when you meet them, you don't smell the roses. You don't actually enjoy them because we hit that goal. All right, now the next one, right?
You said another one.
And it's like, sometimes you look at that, you're like, dang, dude, we gotta...
Yeah.
Let's like pop a bottle. Let's enjoy yourself. Let's have a nice cup of coffee. Let's get together and just enjoy that we met this goal, that we met this thing that we did, both mental or physical, and then go to the next one.
That's a wonderful form of self-love. Is just recognizing accomplishments along the way.
Right.
It's not complacency. It's not reaching a plateau. It's just understanding and recognizing how much you're achieving at a relatively young age. And at any age, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter where it comes from. For me, self-love is derived from my relationships, I think. Like I feel really good about myself when I feel supported by those around me, by my friends, by my family, by my significant other, by my kid. Like those types of things make such a difference for me to make me feel like, man, I feel like I helped that person have a good day. You know what I mean? Like my contribution to somebody else helped.
So let me ask you a question. What do you do if you don't have that support though, right? So we have, I would say there's a lot of the population, and it's not because either family, doesn't love you, whatever it is, but it could be based on geographical position where you're at. You might have had to move for work or wherever it is, and be a single mom, be a single dad, whatever it is, and you don't have necessarily the external support that you may have liked to have. So then what do you do?
Well, that person's form of self-love may be different than mine, right? So yours, goal setting. Okay. Achievement and accomplishment. I would say mine is more relationship based. For somebody else, self-love doesn't have to be external. I think that you can bring in or pull in your own form of self-love from anything throughout your day-to-day. Maybe it's you feel good about the work that you did. Maybe you feel good about the volunteering that you do on the weekends. Maybe you feel good about your contributions to your religious community. There's different ways that you can really feel good about yourself. I have clients that enjoy doing various activities, right? And you can tell by the way that they talk about it during appointments that it just lights them up, right? And it's not even just about client base. It's just community in general. I think that we see in our own company, so many people have different interests and affinities and things that really bring them joy. It's kind of cool to see such an eclectic, different group like derive joy from different things in their own lives.
Right. So I think one of the hardest parts of our job and what we do in mental health is that you have to kind of meet the patient, meet the client where they're at, right? So what gets me to say this is when you're talking about, hey, someone else's self-love, someone else's motivation, someone else's even troubles, passing of a pet, like whatever it is, job loss, whatever it is, you may not actually like relate to that. You may not have yourself been through it. Like I give someone an example is like someone will say, and again, like I said, it's off topic, but my pet passed away. Right? And I will say to the patient, I don't have any pets, so I can't actually say I know what you're going through, but I can't imagine that it'd be definitely difficult, right? But if you just go with the flow and say, well, I don't really get it, like, I don't really understand, I don't have a pet, I've never lost a pet before, like, you'll be all right, you just get another pet, you'll be good. You can't. You have to meet them where they're at. But that also ties into self-love. Because you may not agree what that self-love is for that individual, right? Because I might say, my self-love is work. Like I do work, paycheck is great, but I do work because I love to do it. This is like part of who I am.
Yeah.
If you take that away, I lost some of myself.
It's part of your character.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we say that, and maybe I was seeing a clinician or whatever it is, if they don't kind of meet me where I'm at, you're going to lose me. If the first visit or the 10th visit you tell me, yo, dude, you got to stop working. It's not that important. Work is always going to be there. You'll be all right. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, I get that. Like I've seen that before, right? But try to meet me where I'm at. So we have to try to meet people where their self-love is. Otherwise, I think you will lose people too.
Absolutely. Empathy is a big part of what we do.
Right.
We have to develop a form of understanding and develop a clinical rapport with a client so that they're willing to share their innermost feelings,
Right.
right? It's a lot. It's not as simple as come in and, hey, tell me everything, right? Tell me everything about your life to a complete stranger who's sitting across from me. No, it's not that easy. Like there has to be a level of understanding, familiarity, relatability to get to that point.
Yeah.
And so as we, this time of year, start to talk about some of the major holidays that are coming up, right? February 14th is a big one.
Which one's that?
It is Valentine's Day.
Ooh, Cupid.
So it's always nice, you know.
I shot a little bow and arrow and shot you.
You absolutely could. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And yeah, sound effect.
And so there's, you know, this holiday for certain individuals is something they look forward to. It's definitely one of those hallmark holidays, right? Like not something that's necessarily celebrated by all people, but it's a nice form of a way to show your significant other or those around you that you care, I guess. In school, what do we used to do? The little cards with candy. We used to like bring them in for the
sweethearts?
class. Yeah, yeah. It
Do
was
they
always.
make those?
I think so. Yeah.
With little sayings on them?
Yep. It was always nice to be able to look forward to those days. But for a large population, those who may not have family, friends, or significant others, it can be kind of a rough day. So how do you help your clients to navigate that if they bring that to your attention?
I give every client Dove dark chocolate.
Do you?
Yes, because I heard it's what fixes everyone's hearts.
Okay. Is
No.
that your actual solution?
No. Although I do think
Yeah.
that during Valentine's Day, so chocolates are a very important thing. I'm
Okay.
going off on a tangent here, okay?
Okay.
That's why during Black Friday, they give chocolates in the malls because it actually makes you feel better. You'll feel shop because you feel better, that kind of stuff too. That's why they give free candies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
See? But I think that small things like that, small tokens do help. You know, in the office, you have the chocolate, you have that kind of stuff. So everyone feels kind of like that too. But I tell people that, you don't have to have like a partner, whether it's husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, to necessarily enjoy Valentine's Day. I've had some people that have said, hey, like, take your best friend and go to dinner. Even if that person has a husband or wife, do it the next day, do it the day before, do it after, right? Like, you can still celebrate it, still do something like that for yourself and celebrate a friendship. Love doesn't have to be just like married, right?
Exactly.
It can be obviously friendship too. And if you don't have that person, it's okay. You'll find that person. Or if you're not looking and you don't want to find that person, totally cool too. You just have to say what makes you happy that day.
Yeah.
I think Valentine's Day is just a day to celebrate relationships. Right?
In general.
In general.
Yeah.
Of course, like, yeah, husband, wife, fine. Boyfriend,
Sure.
girlfriend, cool, right? Crush, yes, right? Get your crush something nice, fine. But it is also, and I've never really thought about this until we talked about it today, you should celebrate your greatest relationships or new relationships. Why can't you celebrate a new relationship? Don't have to go out and buy everybody flowers or gifts, fine. But you can still celebrate it. Still shoot someone a text and say, yo, say happy Valentine's Day, just think of you, like, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Something I might start to do now that I'm talking about it. I think it makes a big difference.
It does. And nothing separates this day from the other 364 of the year. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean, oh, this is the one day of the year I'm going to take my friends, family, or significant other out to dinner. It's just an occasion to celebrate. So as it relates to mental health, when you're pulling this in and you are thinking about, classically, it's a couple's holiday, right? Fine. Cool. We'll go with the classical sense of Valentine's Day. How can couples help support each other in their mental health needs?
It's about setting expectations that are reasonable expectations.
Okay.
For instance, let's say I'm with somebody. That person expects me to do something as far as I've always been the planner. If I've always been the planner historically, I'm probably expected to be the planner again.
Okay.
But if I'm expecting the other person to all of a sudden just hit a switch and start to plan something, if I'm expecting that, then I might be upset if I don't get that.
Okay.
But if I'm open to it and I'm hopeful, then you might get it. Then it'd be okay, great.
Okay.
But if not, you still know that you'll be the planner. If it really bothers you, then you reach that person, your other partner, friend, boyfriend, and you say, "Listen, I know you're not a planner, and I get that, right? But how about I help you and we plan together?" And then over time, you hope that you do certain things. Maybe they start to meet some of your hopes, not all your expectations.
Yeah.
And vice can be said, right? If I am not the planner, then I'm expecting someone else to do it too, right? But then it's also the onus on me to say, hey, like, all right, they probably want me to plan something too. Let me kind of reach out to it as well. So it's a two-way street. I'm not saying it's a one-way street there. But that's how I think every relationship is, even if it's a best friend or a good friend. You have to kind of meet the person with that. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
We're like, yo, this buddy doesn't even plan anything ever,
Right.
right? They're always just here. Like, what the heck's going on here, right? And all of our friend groups have that stuff, right? But you grow to not expect it.
You do.
You're hopeful for it. So when it happens, you're like, whoa, what's going on here, right?
It blows the doors off.
Right.
Yep.
You're like, this is crazy, right? But if it doesn't happen, you're not sad. You're not discouraged. You're like, it is what it is. We still have a good relationship. He's still our friend. She's still our friend, whatever it is. You kind of have to keep chugging along like that. Because I think that this leads into general that if you are always expecting something to happen and you don't get it, you're always going to be discouraged. Relationships, finances, work, right? If you just expect to get a raise and you're like, I'm expecting to get it, but I'm not really working for it, I'm not really like trying, whatever it is, you might be discouraged. So maybe that's also my mindset too. I always plan for the worst thing to happen, not the best thing to happen, even though you shoot for the best thing. So when I get a little bit better, I'm good.
But that's a good form of self-love. Pulling it all the way back, that's just how you set yourself up for success. It's not aiming low and missing small. It's just not preparing for everything's going to be sunshine and butterflies 24/7 because it's not, right? Yeah. And in terms of relationships, as you talk about it as a whole, expectation setting is important. And so your mindset that you just described is a really good way for people to talk to each other, right? Thinking in terms of hoping it happens rather than expecting it to happen and just being potentially let down, right? Everything can be framed from multiple different ways. And context and perspective play a big role in that. So I like the way that you communicated and said, this is how couples can work together. This is something that could be done to make a situation either easier, more smooth, or avoid conflict. And I think that is important when you talk about how couples can resolve problems or work through things when it comes to mental health. Right. It honestly, as a whole, you just throw mental health out there and then you could put it in a Venn diagram and put all these different things that are a part of it, right? It pulls in so many different aspects of your life. It's not just, endocrinology. It's not just like one thing, one system. Mental health is so all-encompassing. It involves so many different aspects of your life. You could blend in any different portion of your day and talk about how it has an effect on your mental health. Mental health is health, right? We've talked about this.
Yeah.
So I just like that there's all these external influences. There's all these different factors that we have to take into consideration in our job, but the couple-to-couple relationship is a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
It dictates your mood, like largely how your day is going to go or how it is going or how it starts, how it ends. And I like that, like if that line of communication is open, like you said, two-way street, and people can talk about it or help each other to feel better, aren't your days going to be a little bit better?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, again, it goes back to like me. I was talking about those memes and stuff you read. It's like your best friend is someone that you should be super truthful to, right? So I always give you an example, right, with you, myself, or whoever it is, right, Keish, whoever we're talking about, right, that super straight up, like super transparent, telling you exactly what I think is not what I think is best for the person, but from my failures and saying, like I did this, it didn't work out well, I don't recommend doing it. But being like a true brother, being a true sister in that sense and giving them that advice or that help that would guide them a little bit, right? Or work together with it, right? So like you said, if you can be transparent with that partner, friend, relationship, whatever it is, right? Then hopefully your mood does improve. Hopefully their moods improve. You're sticking out for each other. And if you have that open line of communication with each other, then it's easier. When you don't have that open line of communication, then someone's going to take it like, why are you telling me this?
Correct.
I don't need your input, right?
Right.
But we've talked about it before openly and said, I just tell you things out of love. I'm not telling you things because I think it's fun.
Right.
Or I think it's cool. Or I know everything because I don't, right? For sure I don't. But just from my failures, just from past experiences, we all have different wisdoms. You can hopefully work together with it.
Absolutely. But don't just speak on your failures. Like speaking from experience, you do a good job. You give yourself such a hard time. You do speak on your failures to try to help someone else avoid failures. But you also should speak on your successes. You don't.
Right.
But I'm saying it from a very tempered, modest sense here. You do a good job of like, hey, this is where I misstepped in terms of like, don't go with this person, like in terms of, I don't know, an investment, or like this person didn't really do right by me and my family, so like make sure you go with somebody else. Right. You know what I mean? But from a brotherly love standpoint, you do a very good job of setting people up for success. Like you set me up for success. But just in our group, just in terms of like your personal traits of how you extrapolate your experiences onto other people's either success or failures is a cool trait. You always talk about you want everybody to eat, right?
Yeah.
You don't just want to eat yourself, right? You want everybody around you to eat. And to me, that's a like very healthy self-love and relationship topic and theme.
Well, thanks, man.
Not something that we have to go way into, but it's something I appreciate from like a brotherly love standpoint. Setting other people up for success is not something that people have to do.
Right.
Nothing tells you to do that. You look within yourself as a very busy dude and say, I'm gonna make sure this person like doesn't make that mistake.
Yeah. We should all eat together for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, you can be my Valentine, man.
Yeah.